Hello, everyone. Just wanted to do an impromptu live feed to talk about something that's very important and it's really near and dear to my heart. And by the way, if you don't know me, I'm Tia Ramey. I am a marketing communications strategist, and I specialize in social media. I've worked with businesses big and small, and the ones that are truly my favorite are my nonprofit organizations and those who do outreach initiatives. I've been working in these industries for maybe just a little under 10 years, and I've spent a lot of time just figuring out, what is the messaging that works. And so it's what we call one of the most generous times of the year where people are giving. They're in the spirit of giving, the season of giving, and so it's a good time. Also, the end of the year, tax season, where some of our larger businesses need to figure out which charities and causes they're going to invest in. And so, if you are really on it, then you might be able to find yourself in their budgets. Okay, so I thought today I would give you just a few tips and strategies that would help some of you to develop some success with marketing your nonprofit organizations and using social media advertising to attract donors, even potentially volunteers. So, just a few basic tips on just messaging alone. There's one thing I do whenever I'm running social media ads, I always run more than one campaign. Typically, I like to run at least if just to keep it simple. I'm just going to give you one type of campaign that I like to run, and this is where I focus on how people process information. And if you know me, I've written a book called Canceled. It's all about mastering difficult conversations in this new modern world with all this digital technology. And so if you understand the way that people take in difficult information, there are three different ways they're going to process it. So one of my campaigns that I'm going to do is going to be one that focuses on our logical thinkers. And so people who are logical, they love the math, numbers, statistics, analytics, data. And so what you would do is you would create one campaign that speaks to the numbers. And let's say if you're trying to figure out how to close a gap as it relates to hunger, for example, you would say that 32% of Ohioans are going to bed hungry at night. You would have to give a number to that because that is the way that they think. They want you to show them the data. So it's really important to run a campaign that has that sort of messaging. So that way you can really quantify the size of the problem. Then you have our group that is more on the emotional end. And so they are emotional thinkers. And what you want to do is make sure that you really have the imagery that triggers them. And I always say that, you've got about 3 seconds to get people's attention, keep it, make them want to do something. And so if you're on that emotional side, then you've got to relate to that. You've got to show the impact of what is happening, of this problem. You need good images or video, and you need messaging that really triggers that sort of response. How would you feel if this is your child? This could be someone you know. That's why they pull on those sort of heartstrings, and that's what you want to do on the emotional campaign. Then last is one thing I like to call spiritual thinkers. The way they process information is always about the bigger picture, and you want to let them know what is the impact of their involvement. And you've got to get to that point very quickly. You could say very quickly, $25 feeds 3 children. This is what they want to know is, where is my dollar going? What is the bigger impact? What is it going to do? How are we going to solve it? And so if you can run a campaign and target on your messaging side of one being logical, one being emotional, one being spiritual, then you've hit all 3 different types of donors of how people process that sort of information to make decisions. You've given them exactly what they need in your targeting. So never just run one ad, always try to splice it up. And you would continue to splice it up if you're a nonprofit organization, because you do have so many different audiences. You've got one side of the audience that are your donors. You've got one that are maybe some of your corporate sponsors. You have another audience that are volunteers. You have another audience that you're trying to reach out to, is who's the end user of the services that you are providing. So a lot of nonprofits may have about 5 different audiences that they're trying to reach. But just for the sake of this and time, I'm giving you one on targeting donors. Then think about the targeting. Maybe you want some of these really high-end corporate donors that can give you a big donation. How do you target them? You can't necessarily just type in rich people, right? When you're trying to target someone on ads. But what you can do is think about their profile, think about some of their behaviors and their buying habits, especially maybe even towards this time of the year. What are some things that wealthy people do? And you can target those solutions. For example, are they staying at the Holiday Inn or are they staying at Four Seasons? And maybe you want to target people who would stay at the Four Seasons because this is the level of donors that you are trying to attract. So you've got to really think about some of their habits, think about some of their hobbies, think about some of their interests. Maybe it's collectible cars, people who are interested in this. And this is how you would target the high profile donors of your campaign, or potentially even board members that you want to come and serve. But remember, always, always, always sit down as something that a lot of us marketers call these sort of user personas and break down the types of people that you are trying to target. What do they do? What are they into? What do they respond to? And if you can at least try to splice up your messaging into 3 different ways, logical, emotional, and spiritual, then it helps you to hit all 3 points of what people need to see, feel, and know to make a decision as to whether or not they should donate to your organization. So I hope that these are really helpful tips. I have a lot more tips like these and strategies. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, just visit my website, tiaramey.com. If you would like to see more communication tips and strategies like these, you can also purchase a copy of my book, Canceled. It is also on my website. And I've got a workshop coming up. So if you're very interested in attending a workshop where it's hands-on, me and you working on really how to target your nonprofit organization, create social media ads, maybe you're insanely novice at this and you need some real help and someone to walk you through it. I love doing that kind of work. It's dear to my heart. So just subscribe on my website. All you've got to do is go to tiaramey.com, scroll down to the bottom, and you can subscribe to my newsletter, and you will receive the latest dates for when my workshops come up. So I hope this was helpful this morning. Thank you so very much for your time. I will be putting this video up on my YouTube channel, so make sure that you subscribe on tiaramey.com today. Have a good one.